Culture plays such a crucial and important role in what infants learn. With culture being such a major contributor to learning, what happens when the values, beliefs, and attitudes of the parent differ from those of the teacher? Differences in these areas are not uncommon in early childhood settings. So how can differences be approached and handled in a respectful way? It's important to realize that when discussing culture, there is not a right or a wrong side to the story. There may be differing views that, when discussed, can add a tremendous amount of understanding about the child and the family and the teacher, which in turn benefits everyone involved. Because values, beliefs, and attitudes are so deeply rooted, there tends to be strong emotions tied to culture. There's an activity in this week's module that goes more into depth about this vignette, but for now we will read it and reflect a bit on the situation. Rosie, 6 months old, is waking up from her nap and begins to cry. Joan, her teacher, has begun to dress Mark. She lets Rosie cry while she finishes dressing Mark, which takes about 5 minutes. Then she picks Rosie up. In the meantime, Rosie's mother, Mrs. H., has come early to pick up her daughter, and she sees the incident. When Joan greets her, Mrs. H. takes Rosie from her and holds Rosie tightly. Rosie does not come to childcare the next 2 days. When Joan calls to find out what has happened, Mrs. H. says that Rosie will be back the next day, but she does not return until the following Monday. By then, Joan is concerned. On the day Rosie returns, Joan takes Mrs. H. aside and asks why Rosie was out so long. Mrs. H. replies, "Rosie was upset. You didn't take good care of her." How do you think the teacher should handle this situation? From the description, what do you think the parent's values are? What are the teacher's values? Is it easy for you to decide who is right or wrong? As mentioned, culture is so crucial and plays an important role in the development of a child and supplies the familiar, which helps us order and make sense of the world. But at the same time, culture defends us from the unfamiliar, which keeps us from seeing the perspective of others. Things that are unfamiliar can be uncomfortable and breed fear, which leads to separation, which then leads to bias. Following are some important terms and concepts to understand when talking about culture. Keep in mind, unless you are aware of these terms and concepts, often they are unknowingly expressed through thoughts, actions, and behaviors. It is invaluable to understand and be open to other cultural perspectives. Ethnocentrism is the tendency to view one's own cultural group as the center of everything and is the standard against which all others are judged. Cultural repression refers to having no recognition of the validity of a different belief or practice and no desire to discuss the difference. Cultural respect is acknowledging differences with respect, with a desire to gain understanding of the ideas and beliefs behind those differences. Cultural self-awareness is identifying how one's own cultural background impacts ways of seeing and behaving. Cultural views are acquired from family and close community. For children, it is out of their control and is just something that is inherently absorbed. It is within one's culture that values make sense, so it is comfortable. Beyond the boundaries of one's culture, values may not make sense, which can be uncomfortable. On the same note, it is important to avoid judging others' values. Instead, we can nurture the ability to question the arbitrary nature of one's culture and accepting that those who are different from us can enrich our lives. These are all tools to help with the process of understanding others. To truly understand another, we need to listen well and try to see the world for a moment as the other person does. Through their lens of life experiences and understanding that culture and cultural values are gained through life experience, so to judge one's culture is to judge them, whereas to understand one's culture is to understand them. Differences in values, beliefs, and attitudes are not uncommon in the early childhood setting. However, when these differences are approached and handled in an open, respectful manner, opportunity for understanding can lead to adaptation and change. The program for infant toddler care created Acknowledge, Ask, and Adapt, which is a 3-step process designed to guide conversation in which differing values and beliefs are present. First, we acknowledge the other person's feelings. Then, we ask for more information to help in understanding the other person's perspective. Lastly, we adapt, which is done through negotiation. When the other person's feelings are acknowledged, they then feel validated. Listen carefully and restate what you understand to be the other person's concerns. This part of the conversation is important because if you're not accurately understanding the other person's perspective, it allows more conversation to continue and at the same time ultimately supports the other person in simply feeling heard. Following are some examples that can help start the conversation around acknowledging. It sounds like you did not like it when, or from what you are saying, it seems that you are worried that, or I can tell you are upset about. In order to discover more about the other person's perspective or concern, you can ask questions that lead to finding out more about why they feel the way they do. Here, you are gathering information to help understand the other person's perspective. You can start by asking, could you tell me a bit more about why this is a worry to you? Or, I want to understand better. Could you tell me more about your concern? The last step is adapt. In this step, you work with the person to explore solutions by listening for common areas of agreement and negotiating around important issues. All of this is done in order to seek a win-win solution. You could offer your opinion and then follow up by asking their opinion, or say something along the lines of, you may have some other ideas, so let's talk about them together. The goal here is to meet in the middle so that both participants have contributed ideas and agree on the conclusion. We are going to review again the vignette with Rosie, but this time practice using the 3 steps to culturally respectful negotiation. Rosie, 6-month-old, is waking up from her nap and begins to cry. Joan, her teacher, has begun to dress Mark. She lets Rosie cry while she finishes dressing Mark, which takes about 5 minutes, then picks Rosie up. In the meantime, Rosie's mother, Mrs. H., has come early to pick up her daughter and sees the incident. When Joan greets her, Mrs. H. takes Rosie from her and holds Rosie tightly. Rosie does not come to childcare the next 2 days. When Joan calls to find out what happened, Mrs. H. says that Rosie will be back the next day, but she does not return until the following Monday. By then, Joan is concerned. On the day Rosie returns, Joan takes Mrs. H. aside and asks why Rosie was out so long. Mrs. H. replies, Rosie was upset. You didn't take good care of her. To practice acknowledge, ask, and adapt, think for a minute about what you would say to acknowledge the situation. What would you say to ask? Can you imagine how taking these first 2 steps might set the stage for the 3rd step, adapt?